Welcome to this POSSE training video. In this video, we'll be covering how to access the map in POSSE Web, how to navigate the map, and also how to use some of the tools in the map in order to get the most out of it and find some helpful functionalities. So, let's get started. Now, the POSSE map can be accessed from a few different areas in the system. The first one is the business menu from the links here. The second would be any map criteria on searches. So if you're using a search, you can open up the map from there. And then the locate button that's used throughout the system. So anywhere you see a button for locate, also pull up the map. But for this demonstration, we're going to start just here on the business menu and click on the maps link right here. And this maps link is available on all business menus. You'll notice that it immediately pulls up the map and loads whatever we were last seeing. And here we have a view over Waikiki. Now, navigating the map is pretty simple. We can click and drag to move ourselves around and load different areas of the island. We can zoom in and out using the buttons here on the left. Hitting plus will zoom us in to see more detail, and hitting the minus will zoom us out to view a larger area. You can also use the scroll on your mouse to zoom in. Scrolling forward will zoom in, and scrolling backward will zoom out. And then clicking on a parcel will highlight it in yellow like this. We'll show you how to use that later. And then of course we have a little bit of information down here at the bottom, like the distance measure and the ability to close the map if we need to do that. Let's click over here to deselect that. So that's the basic navigation of the map viewer. And then you'll notice also along the top here, we have lots of different options. This is called the POSSE map toolbar, and we'll be covering that in the next portion. For starters, we're going to click the little hand icon here. This is the pan tool. This is just your kind of default, I want to move around and view different portions of the map tool. Doesn't do anything other than allows us to just quickly move around and view things. Next are the zoom in and zoom out tools. These work similar to the zoom in over here, but these allow us to select a certain area that we want to view first, and then zoom our map to view the area that we just selected. So if we need to see exquisite detail on a certain set of parcels, we can zoom all the way in, and the map will take a moment and load the high-res imagery of those areas. When we're ready to zoom out, we can do the same thing. Just clicking on the map will kind of take us back to that next level. Clicking again, and it slowly begins moving us back out to a higher level view. Next we have the full extent button. This is just a really quick way to zoom out and view the whole island if you need to quickly navigate around and find a certain area. A lot of times you might use this if you need to jump to a whole other portion of the island. You might go to full extent, then go out, grab the zoom tool, and find the area you need to view, and wait for it to jump you right back into the area you need to look at. Next is the select tool. This one is a drop down, and we have single select and then multi-select. This is when we were selecting parcels for a search or for buffering. With the select tool activated, we can select any parcel on the map and it will highlight it in yellow. If we hold down Control, that allows us to select multiple parcels. And then if I'm holding Control, I can also toggle the ones I've already selected on or off. With the multi-select active, I can do the same thing, but I can select multiple parcels within a group. So I could drag a box and it will highlight all of the parcels that fall within the box I just created. So I can use this to select whole portions of subdivisions, neighborhoods, or city blocks. Once we have a parcel selected, I'm going to go back to the single select and I'll just click on a parcel here. I can actually come back to the map, pull up a search. In this case, let's just use the TMK address search. And I can use the map criteria here. Now, since I've selected some parcels on the map here in yellow, you can see I have those 2 items highlighted. You'll see that back in POSSE Web, it actually shows that those 2 items are selected on the map. And by clicking the magnifying glass here, we've simply pulled those parcels into the search to use as our criteria. And at this point, all I have to do is hit search, and the TMK search will use those parcel boundary boxes and find all of the TMKs that are related that we found on the map. And you'll notice that it does find any historic parcels as well. These ones are non-current, so we probably don't care about those, but we do see the current parcels sitting right here at the top. So just a quick way to use the map and quickly search for TMKs and pull them up. Now let's jump back to the map. Next up on the map toolbar is the selection layer dropdown. This allows us to choose which layer we're using to do our selections, like we did with the parcels. And as of right now, the making of this video, there's only one layer, and that's the tax and regulatory parcels. So that one's just going to be the way it is. Next, we have the locate option. This is a way for us to quickly jump to an address by searching for it. So if I was to type 650 South King, it'll find a bunch of matching addresses that it believes are pretty close. So here we can see the right one at the top. I can just double click on it and it'll jump me over and load so that we're right over the POSSE Municipal Building. And we can see it trying to drop the pin right there at the street. If I was to zoom in and get a nice close look at that parcel. Next, we have the buffer tool. This is a chance to create a selection of parcels that are within a certain distance around a center parcel. So if I was to come back here, let's say we want to create a buffer zone around this parcel here. I'll select the parcel using the selection tool. I have single select selected there. Come and select that buffer option. Give it a distance. Let's do 200 feet. Click OK. It's going to create a larger 200-foot bounding box around that parcel's boundary. I'll zoom in here so you can see that. And then it's going to select every parcel it can that boundary touches. This is used a lot when it comes to generating notification lists and mailing lists to inform people within a certain area of a parcel in which work is being done. And I'm going to cover this a little bit more in another video, so that's all I'll show right now. Now the next item I want to show you is the identify tool. This allows us to get information on any parcel that we choose. So with it selected, I can just click on any parcel here, and it gives me pages of data on this particular parcel based on what layers I'm currently seeing. Right now I just have the all regulatory parcels and the, click on this arrow, all tax parcels layers up. So I just get 2 pages here that I can kind of tab through using these arrows. And these just give me some basic and detailed information based on what's currently there in the layer. Now if I had other layers up like zoning, you would be able to see other information on those layers as well. Just exit out of this. Now the next tool over here is the measure tool. So let's go ahead and select that and try that out. You'll notice that it pops up right down here in the left with some details about our measurement. With the measure tool active, what I can do is select one or multiple points. So let's say I want to measure from this bridge to this bridge. I can select it right here, select the other bridge right here, and it'll create a line between them. And then that line distance gets measured right here in this measured distance option right here. So 769 feet. I can also create other segments, and the measure tool will keep track of the distance in the measured segment length. So as I move the cursor around, you'll notice that those numbers are all changing, and the total distance is changing because it's tracking where my cursor currently is. But we can see that the total measured distance is always calculated in this field here. So as I add more nodes, that total measured distance will continue to go up. So just another quick way of getting some information out of the map, measuring distances if that's pertinent to your job. Now the last two tools we have here have the same icon. One is layer and one is legend. These kind of go hand in hand. So the layer options gives us a bunch of check marks and checkboxes to select what layers we'd like to see on the map. Right now we just have major streets, center lines, tax and regulatory parcels, and some lot lines, and that's about it. But if we wanted to view something like the zoning layer, we'll turn that on. You'll notice that it changes and puts different colored areas over the map based on what zones are there, based on the zoning regulations. Now, this isn't as helpful unless we know what we're talking about here. So what I'm actually going to do is close the layer selection and open the legend right here. And if we scroll down to the area where we have zoning described, there we go, now it loaded. We can see that we have a legend for all of the zoning portions of the map. We can reference this along with the map itself to be able to tell what kind of zones we're currently looking at. And again, you can use this for any layer and turn them all on or all off, depending on what you want to look at, and use the legend to view exactly what information is important to you and what you're trying to get out of the map. I was going to close out of that and jump right back and just turn off zoning for now. And close out of that. And with that, we've covered everything that we want to show you in this video. So let's recap really quick before we end. First, we talked about opening the map and where you can open it from. We just pulled it up from the business menu. We talked about how to navigate the map, zoom in and out, and click and drag to move around. We talked about all of the different tools in the bar up here. And we also showed some of the ways you can use the map to perform a search in POSSE. That's about it. Thanks for watching.